What did your school waste money on that nobody liked? They made a huge screen with 4 huge plasma screens and put it in a very random place in a very random building hall. No signal, no signal, no signal, no signal. I'd be half tempted to put a Chromecast or something on it to cast memes and shit. In university I would go to public terminals people would forget to log out of and leave /d/up. Another time someone left the ice cream dick picture up on one of the guest check-in terminals at my dorm building. Fun times. Someone did that to the touchscreen billboards in Aberystwyth. They are not touchscreen anymore. Check input, check input, check input, check input. No signal. School spendings in a nutshell. Pay high price and shiny technology abundantly. Congratulate yourself about being a modern and advanced school. Don't use it because complicated and staff is not trained. Nothing changes. Teachers still use old or own equipment. Repeat the next year. Some rich man give this man an award. Oh yeah, we had those too. Too bad they ran unsecure and anyone with a TV remote app on their phone could mess around with them. Not that anyone ever did that. That's like a dystopian movie. Yeah, like the telescreens from 1984. Mega screen. Oh my god. High school flashbacks. Name tags. Shortly after Columbine and all those other shootings peaked in frequency. It was supposed to keep outsiders from getting in the school unnoticed and shooting everyone, but at the time people doing the shootings were always students. So we joked they were bulletproof. Why not just school IDs? Why name tags? My school had IDs, but we had to wear them on a lanyard so that everyone could see them. Maybe this is what they meant by name tag. I was in high school from 2000 to 2004, and my school had IDs that they tried us to wear. Either clipped to our clothes or hanging from a lanyard. My school was the same way. We absolutely had to wear them around our necks, and simply attaching them to our shirts was an automatic detention. Fucking horseshit if you ask me. Sounds like my high school back in the day, but they used it for profit instead of punishment. Not wearing your official lanyard in school colors? They'll give you a new one and make you pay for it. Since the lanyard used the cheapest plastic I've ever seen, it was common for the clip to break and fail to hold the ID at least twice a semester. You could try and tape it together, but if staff noticed they would declare it damaged, take it away, and then charge you for a new one. These lanyards were charged at $10 a piece or so, and I was stopped from graduating until I paid the $70 in lanyard debt I had accrued by the end of my senior year. Same with my school with the cheap plastic, but luckily mine didn't charge any time an ID was taped. So when did you pay for these lanyards? When were they billed, I mean? Did they require turn-in at the end of the year? Sounds like literal theft when they would take a broken lanyard away. You know, in addition to the whole charging $10 for a 10-cent lanyard thing. The lanyards were cheap, so we kept them at the end of the year, but the odds were very good you'd break it trying to swap last year's ID for the new one. You could pay in cash or check when given a new lanyard, or they would just add it to your lunch tab which you'd be billed for at the end of the school year. Some of my classmates won a bunch of money for our school. Our school was one of the lowest funded schools in the district. The district took the money and spent it on another school. That reminds me, when I was a sophomore, my school was next in line to get renovations and upgrades. Only half classes even had air conditioning. Instead, the district built a new school that took half of my graduating class. They also took teachers, so my classes were still overcrowded. Yeah, our school has about 2,000 people, while it was built for like 1,200. None of our classes have air conditioning, to my knowledge. None of my classes do at least, and our school spent $15,000 on the new sports team, when our arts program, show choir, marching band, theater, etc. has been begging for funding for 15 years. My old high school had more than enough room for its student size. Then for some reason they decided to build a new school and say they would convert the old one into an old folks home. Well, the old school ended up having mold or something, so it couldn't be used, and it is still just an empty building that people break into all the time. To explore, the new school ended up being a lot smaller to where we needed 2 portables in the first semester. Hallways were a lot more cramped, lockers were about half the size, and not very usable. We lost a game room, playground, large open field with a small forest, and instead got a landfill that smelled bad and polluted the water and a fenced off field. There were also a bunch of other complaints that I can't think of right now. Mayo sounds similar to my school in the UK. I was at the old school for 1 term in year 7 before we moved, and it sounds almost exactly the same as yours. Lost the playground, field became a lot smaller, had 2 portable classrooms on the horrible landfill out the front of our school, which was meant to be turned into a strata for month after we moved in, but 10 years later it's still the same. However, in my final year of 6th form they built this brand new multi-million-pound 6th form study center on the landfill, which looked so shit and out of place. Old school got turned into a housing estate though. It's because it's cheaper to build a new school rather than repair an old one. They probably got grant money they had to use or lose. My school district did this. Did they try to sell you on how much better the graduation rate would be if they built it? There were also a bunch of other complaints that I can't think of right now. Don't worry, they'll come back to you after the mold gets out of your system. But if you start finding notes to yourself you don't remember writing, get the furnace checked too. Did the roof also peel off during the middle of an exam? Cause this sounds like you are describing my old school. OMG, the curse of the portables. New TVs in the cafeteria that just show the morning announcements edit. They already send out emails that have the morning announcements in them. They just need to send out announcements in an email. That's the thing, they already do that. Talk about overkill. Yeah. If you go to a certain high school in Pennsylvania, I totally agree. Wow, small world. Haha, I went to a high school in PA that put up TVs in the cafeteria for announcements, but use them like once. We have 6 TVs in the cafeteria. 4 of them show the news, the other 2 show us lit show the lunch menu items. At least yours do something. I kinda wonder if mine's figured out how to use them. I haven't been there in like 3 years. The large schoolyard at my school had a set of planters in the center. They were basically 4 triangles made of brick that pointed in at each other and created an X-shaped walkways between. The outside sides had a bench each attached. People would sit and chat to each other on the benches, teachers and students alike. There was very little litter or vandalism. The plants were kinda pretty insofar as any secondary schooler would care to notice. One year a duck made her nest in one of the planters, and apart from a few "oh hey a duck nest" comments it was left alone. Then for some reason the school decided to rip the planters out. Took them 2/3 of the school year to do it, and blocked off the X walkways so everyone had to crush by on the outside lanes between classes. Everyone was super curious as to what the planters would be replaced by. Turns out, nothing. They simply bricked over the holes left by the planters and left it as a huge empty space. We didn't even get new benches so no one had anywhere to sit during break. People started to miss the plants since the lack of color left the whole area kinda bland. We also kept to the old X walkway since stepping over the former planters felt weird. They spent money to deprive students of something nice. Caring for plants costs money every year. Bricky 9ng it up costs money once. Still a dick move though. Sure, but why not replace the benches? Fuck you, that's why the school board. Accurate / iPads for the kindergarten. They were intended to have educational apps on them that kids could play on at indoor recess. Believe it or not, most kindergarteners would rather play on the swings or play with dolls than learn to write their name on an app. No one used them, no one liked them, and they all broke within 2 months. HRRMM. My indoor recess at that age was the whole group using these big puzzle piece foam blocks to build castles and then crawl all over them. We would not have cared about the iPad either. My kindergarten, we were on a mission to dig to the bottom of the sandbox edit. We took turns and songs. My school got rid of the sandbox after a kid found cat shit and tried to eat it. Did you eat cat poop? No, I ate paste like a normal child. If you're serious, what did it taste like? Watercolor paints are sweet. Tastes like cat shit.